Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity, well deserved. Indeed, I come as a representative of the people of Chinhoyi. And the people of Chinhoyi indeed did not mince their words. My experience of the last 100 or so days has been different from the one that has been painted predominantly in this House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the people of Chinhoyi started by not being happy by the fact that the consultations scattered the provincial capital, Chinhoyi. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll be forgiven for concluding when I read that there were 1,472 rejection emails to conclude that they all came from Chinhoyi. I'll be forgiven for saying that. Because, Mr. Speaker said, I took time intently over the time to interact with men on the streets, unemployed graduates, the war veterans, some of which reminded me that Chinhoyi is the birthplace of the second Chimurenga, and indeed not Galibo. The civil servants that whispered their thoughts fearing reprimand, the carefree university students, the indigents, the elderly, and the disabled, the political activists, including those from the ruling party that cannot fathom Mhangwa voting for their president. Mr. Speaker said, in the majority of the submissions, even in my family group, the consensus was that the bill is misplaced and takes away from the people rather than giving them anything. I will not labor on issues that have been ventilated at length by honorable members before me. I choose to restrict myself to a few angles. But before that, as I prepared for this debate, Mr. Speaker said, these words from one of our SRC leaders during my university days kept ringing in my ears, and indeed will shape my submission together with the pastoral letter from my spiritual fathers, the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference. I am a proud Catholic, and I abide by the guidance that I was given. I start by quoting the bishops in their submission. They emphasized that they are merely speaking as a moral and civic voice. And they further said, a constitution is not just a legal document, but is a solemn national covenant born out of sacrifices, aspirations, and sovereign will of the people of Zimbabwe. As such, the constitutional amendments that we seek to do must strengthen.
Order. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Joe?
Majita, Honorable Speaker, sir. Honorable Mhangwa, zvavari kudebata pazviri zvakakepchwa neripoti yakaprezentwa naHonorable Chair wePortfolio Committee. So tobva tazviadopta, so hazvina need kuti vazvidzokorore mazvita iyi.
Order. Ndichadzokorora zvakare kuti katsi inouraya nenzira dzakasiyana siyana sezvataurwa navaspika vedu. Saregai katsi ingourayiwa nenzira dzakasiyana siyana.
Hamuna kuinzwisisa, Mr. Speaker. Ndiri kutiko point yavo iri muripoti yekomiti, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I've already made a ruling. You may go ahead, Honorable Mhangwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for asserting kuti kuChinhoyi semakorekore tine maurayiro edu ekasi. Saka semakorekore tichauraya tichidaro. As such, constitutional amendments must strengthen rather than weaken the safeguards public confidence in institutions, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, as I wrap up my introduction, allow me to quote the words from my SRC leader then. Pride always asks, is it popular? Greed always asks, is it beneficial? Fear always asks, is it safe? But, Honorable Speaker, the conscience always asks, is it right? As I proceed with my presentation, I'll be led by my conscience. Mr. Speaker said, as I listened with intent to Honorable Ziambi, who by the way is also from my province, I listened as he said the words that rang the same bell, and indeed the same bell as the jingles that we have been subjected to in the last 90 days. Mr. Speaker said, I will not take all the angles, but the majority of my presentation, I will talk to the notion that there is need for projects to be completed. And for projects to be completed, there is need for us to extend the term limit. Mr. Speaker said, I listened also carefully as the first presenter, Honorable Matema, came with a very sophisticated word of describing CAB3 as a vector. As he described it as a vector, he said it's a quantity that is two things, direction and magnitude.
Order, honorable members, order. Take your seat when I say order. Can Honorable Mhangwa please be heard in silence? Order. You may continue.
When Honorable Matema presented, he gave me indeed my eureka moment. I heard him speak of CAB3 being akin to a vector. A vector, he started very well by saying it has two components, direction and magnitude. And indeed, this passes the test of science and engineering. Indeed, vectors have direction and they have magnitude. But as he proceeded, he then made a not so scientific postulation, Mr. Speaker said, saying what matters is the direction. The magnitude does not matter. Mr. Speaker said, as I present, I'm presenting it that the direction he speaks to is already specified in our Constitution. When the President is elected, when I'm elected as a member of Parliament, it's already known, Mr. Speaker said, that I have 5 years as a President, I have 5 years as a member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker said, the direction is known. The President should develop Zimbabwe from when he took it to when he will return it to the next person. It is known, Mr. Speaker. So there is no need for us to worry about the direction. But, Mr. Speaker, what determined today whether I was going to be presenting this debate or not was the time that I left Chinhoyi and the speed with which I traveled to come to this august house. Mr. Speaker, this is the magnitude. You cannot ignore the magnitude. Mr. Speaker said there is a dangerous precedent that is being set by this House, that term limits are elastic. Mr. Speaker said, I will proffer my departure in the direction that I have said. Allow me to caution as an engineer of the dangerous trajectory we are about to take. One excuse that has been widely used for extending the term indeed has been projects. Before I do that, I want to state it on record that the people of Chinhoyi I interacted with were adamant that whatever change you want to bring, please give us a referendum to put our views plainly. They are clear in terms of the duration of my term and that of the President, which they say should end in 2028. If we need a new mandate, we need to go back to them. We still they still want to directly vote for their president. Mr. Speaker said, projects by their nature, they never have the same duration. One project lasts a month, another lasts 2 months, one lasts 5 years, the other lasts 25 years. Mr. Speaker said, without a baseline of the common developmental project's length, there is no need to put an extension that has no correlation to the projects that we should achieve. Mr. Speaker said, yes, for any project, indeed, the politicians, particularly the term of office, sets the clock for the project implementation. As to what gets built and how fast it gets built, the mere thought that the term is elastic will make us drag and allow time to be lost. Allow me to debunk this logic by following 10 key points before proffering the solution. Mr. Speaker said, as we progress as a country, we need to have developmental planning that is generational and not tied to one's political term of office. This proposition will further entrench what Zimbabwe has experienced over the years, where projects are prioritized for potentially to lure voters instead of their potential to change lives. Mr. Speaker, as I go to the second point, offices in charge of executing projects and not personalities should be encouraged. We should be at peace with coming to complete projects that were started by others and planning projects to be completed by others. There is nothing bad about it, Mr. Speaker said. This is how nations progress. Mr. Speaker said, as I transition to my third point, real nation building is not achieved in one term. And trying to achieve that in one term will simply keep Zimbabwe being fodder for respective politicians. Mr. Speaker said, half of the projects I planned for when I was working for ZESA from 2006 to 2008, to date they have not been implemented. If there was a politician who insisted to remain the Minister of Energy, you would still be there today on the premise that the project has not been implemented. The third point is there is no one with monopoly to a new great Zimbabwe. Yes. Change of character will not change the script. If our project execution matrix is right, whoever takes office will simply fit in and deliver. Mr. Speaker said, I had an experience 10 or so years back when I was doing projects in Zambia. I was pleasantly surprised as I went into Zambia. I saw the roads, I saw the malls, I saw the marvelous work they were doing. And I asked, what did Zambia do right? The project manager I was working with, Mr. Speaker said, was very crude and said, we stopped the nonsense of keeping a president who's not performing. The project manager was emphatic, Mr. Speaker said, to say even if the president who comes in has all his weaknesses, you bring one good strength. And if you have 6 presidents with different unique strengths, we have 6 different areas. Case in point, in Zimbabwe, Mr. Speaker said, when the former president, Robert Mugabe, was here, he took us to school. Zimbabwe is known for its schooling. Zimbabwe is known for its educational indexes. Mr. Speaker said, we should not be encouraging people staying beyond what is necessary in office if we want Zimbabwe. Mr. Speaker said, my first point, project planning and project management is a role of technocrats within municipal ministries and not politicians. It's those get permanent employment and not us politicians. Ours is merely to do groundbreaking and to cut the ribbon when the project is finished. The fifth point, Mr. Speaker said, ordinarily projects that in Zimbabwe we burden our head of state with groundbreaking and commissioning elsewhere in the world. For example, in South Africa, where I spent some bit of time, these are projects that are commissioned by councillors and mayors. Mr. Speaker said, I'm not sure if we have any project that is worthy forcing a person who has already served 2 terms to stay on to cut the ribbon. Mr. Speaker said, if we are serious about progression, Mr. Speaker said, allow people to progress, and naturally the term would end as a deadline. Mr. Speaker said, if this logic stood, then President Banana or even Prime Minister Mugabe should still be in office, because the power plants that we are doing currently were planned during the Smith regime, and some of them were planned in the early 80s. Mr. Speaker, allow me to transition to my 7th point. This thinking will elongate projects that ordinarily should have taken shorter to implement, as no 2 projects have the same duration. Number 8, the key reason for failure to complete projects is not elections. It is funding and allocation of projects to parties and people with no capacity to implement such projects. The Harare Bike Bridge Road has not been completed in 8 years. Mr. Speaker said, and adding 2 years will simply make it another 2 years to make it 10 years. And longer, the ninth period,
Order, you've got 3 minutes remaining.
The ninth point, Mr. Speaker, a longer time with the same leader who has bias with a certain area will result in stunted growth. Tinoperators and a quash, Mr. Speaker. A typical example is in Zimbabwe. Currently, Harare has built a trabablas. Now we're going to Maputo for another trabablas when Chinhoyi needs water. Mr. Speaker said, bringing different characters brings different areas. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go to my solutions. I'll quickly go to the solutions without expanding. How do I propose we remedy this dilemma of continuity risk and the long-term project struggles? Number 1, consistency in policy budgeting and leadership. State projects should be state projects instead of party projects. Do away with the labeling of project presidential. Then dealing to make strong non-political institutions, tasked with project inception right through to commission. Number 3, who was the chief then of Mashonaland Central, the biggest chief for that matter before the whites came, and was removed because of politics, and was restricted to have mission to become a headman. I insist that chiefs are a no-go area. And whoever doubts this, let us go to the mountains. The parliament we sit on today used to belong to the Shumba Simboti clan, which is where I belong to. If anyone doubts, let's go to the mountains by Mazoe and see if we come back with the same resolution. I submit.
Point of privilege, Mr. Speaker. Point of privilege.
Order.
I have a point of privilege.
Yes, what's your point?
My point of privilege, Mr. Speaker, is that this is quality debate. Something that we expect from honorable members. I humbly request, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Honorable Magumere. Order.
I humbly request for 2 minutes.
Order.
2 minutes.
Order. Honorable Member, order. Honorable Magumere. That is not in your space to comment that. That is my job as Speaker if I have to. So don't use up my powers here. Thank you. No, you can't talk about
privilege yangu yanga ile kukumbira nguwa ndazoresha yangu pakuti ndati this is quality. Kana ngaresha ipapo shakanaka sorry. asi ndati sori mubati wechigaro kana ndaresa kuti zvakanaka zvaitarwa pana vava ndakumbira kuti dai mavawedzerawo 5 minutes mubati wechigaro nyaya idzi dzakanakira nyika dzavari kurova idzi ndatenda.
Objected. Who seconds?
I support the speaker said.
Thank you. Any objections?
I object. I object.
Objection.
So.
Honorable Speaker said,
yes.
Remember,